days that those results are accurate. So what a lot of people think is that TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax produce your FICO score, and that's actually incorrect. What happens is that the three bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, lease out the credit information to credit vendors. Credit vendors then lease out FICO scores, and that's how you get your FICO score for your mortgage. And so there's three main bureaus that are leasing information. The credit vendors are leasing the FICO score, and that's what gets you your mortgage score. It's incredibly important for people to know that when they're looking at Credit Karma and things of other online agencies, that those are what we call FICO scores. They're often much higher than your traditional mortgage score because mortgage purchases are much larger than auto credit cards and online.
Okay, so if people, or clients or consumers are basing their FICO scores on Credit Karma or any of these online websites, those FICO scores or those credit scores, excuse me, are going to be higher than what a bank would come up with using their systems to come up with credit scores. That's
correct. And so we really want to stress that, when people call in and they say that they're excited about buying a home, we have to make sure that we get a credit report that's from the Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and it's a real tri-merge report with the right FICO scores.
So so when someone tells us, oh, my experience says I have this FICO score, is that pretty accurate whenever we hear that from consumers?
It has to be a tri-merge report from a credit vendor. And so, when they say Credit Karma or any online credit reporting agencies like Advantage and other online scores, those are inaccurate scores. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, it does. It does. Sorry, I had you on mute. It does answer it. Thank you.
All right, great. So mortgage FICO scoring, mortgage FICO coaching. So what we're looking at here is a pie chart of what makes up everyone's FICO scores. Everyone has, so these are all weighted the same for every individual. So payment history is all of your open accounts, all your collections, your bills, and that could be an auto loan, that could be credit card, sorry, not credit cards, student loans, things of that nature. And that's 35% of your score. And so what we do is when we do our audit, we go after 100% of all your payment history, and we audit the credit bureaus and in turn challenge the creditors to prove it or remove it that these items are 100% accurate. Then we have attorney written letters that go out on behalf of the clients every 30 to 45 days. And then we rebuttal again and again until we see those items get removed off the report.
Got it. So just to recap, Adam, because it's really hard to understand you. I'm not sure if you have us on speakerphone or what, but so 35% of someone's FICO credit score is made up from payment history from just the past, right? Whether they're on time or, I mean, basically if they're on time, that's the only thing, right, that they look at for past history.
Right, it's looking at delinquent accounts.
Okay, looking at delinquent accounts. And then 30% is amounts owed. So is that the reason why, well, I think as realtors, we know that this is the reason why a lot of people, when their credit score is pretty low and they have maxed out credit cards, or what else can they max out besides credit cards? I mean, does it matter student loans or?
Well, the amounts owed section of the next 30% that you just pointed out to is credit cards that are your lending base. And so what we advise clients to do is to spend 10 to 30% of your available limit every month. And that's the best way to maximize and get good points from your credit report. And so,
Got it.
and so that's what we coach all of our clients on, and they get more positive points back. And so that by managing your balances to 10 to 30%, you can see your score improve by 30 to 40 points.
Got it. So I know I got that tip a long time ago. Whenever I would buy a property, if I knew I was going to buy a property, if I was hunting for a property, I would just make sure that my balance on my credit cards were zero. So every maybe 10 days, I'll just go in there and just pay down my balance to zero. That way, when they run my FICO score, the lender, it shows that I have a zero balance, or, and then that would push it, like you just said, how many points higher usually?
30 to 40 points.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I would always be about a 700. And then right before I go to purchase and I pay off everything, then it would just jump up to like 740, 750.
Right.
Which makes a world of a difference, right, when it comes to your mortgage payment.
Absolutely. It's a big difference, because you're going to go from kind of subprime to prime, and you're going to get a much better rate on the loan.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Then there's length of credit history. This is an average of all of your open accounts, open credit cards. So you want to have an average of 10 years is the optimal prime amount that's open. So you want to make sure that, if you have some younger cards that you don't need, you can cancel those to get a better length of credit history. Then we have new credit. Those are inquiries. You want to keep your inquiries as low as possible. Those are 1 to 5 points on each inquiry, and they can stay on for 12 months. And so you want to keep the individual inquiries as low as possible when you're buying. Then we have the types of credit. This is installment versus revolving.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the difference between a soft and a hard inquiry?
So a soft pull is one that does not ding your credit. So a hard credit report is a tri-merge report that loan officers will pull, and that will have an inquiry hit of 1 to 5 points on a hard inquiry report. A soft report just takes the information from the bureaus, and it doesn't ding your credit.
Yeah, but why would a guy pull a soft credit report first? I mean, who would be looking to pull a soft credit report? Because I've heard both of those terms used. I know what a hard credit report is, but why would somebody do a soft?
Well, they do a soft report to avoid the inquiry ding. So like, to work with us, we do soft report pulls all the time, because we just want to see what's on the report, and we don't need the actual FICO scores. And so those soft reports will often have online scores which are inaccurate, but they do show accuracy on the account of what's been delinquent on the report.
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, on the soft pull, whenever somebody says, "Oh no, don't worry about it, it's a soft pull," that means that they're just looking to see what you have against your credit, and not necessarily looking for an accurate FICO score.
Correct. We're just trying to get a good understanding of what's on the report and what we need to fight.
Got it. And then that one absolutely doesn't affect your credit score at all. And then a hard pull affects it. You said 5 to 10 points.
1 to 5 points.
Oh, 1 to 5. Got it.
I have another question, Voltaire.
Yeah, go ahead.
I recently pulled up my credit reports and I see that there are a lot of, like you were mentioning, the pools, which I did not request. How is that happening, basically? I haven't requested much credit or anything, but I keep getting like a lot of names show up on that part of the credit that they've been pulling my credit.
Adam, I think that's for you.
Well, that's a great question. You say that you're on your credit report, somebody's running your credit without your authorization.
I mean, there seem to be many times where they have pulled the credit report and in different locations that I don't even remember doing so.
Well, that would be fraudulent. I mean, I don't know who has access to your accounts, but nobody can authorize a credit pull without your authorization.
Yeah, I know. I actually contacted Brightside Credit and had a whole meeting with you guys. And you guys helped me out a lot, but I didn't ask that question.
Yeah, there should be absolutely no credit inquiries on your account without your written permission.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, and then you're going into the types of credit, 10%?
Revolving versus installment. So that's a 1-to-1 to 3-to-1 ratio of like installment would be like your home mortgage, and revolving would be like your credit card. And it's really an odd 10%. Nobody really knows how it works, but they like to see a 1-to-1 to 3-to-1 ratio of credit.
Got it. Okay.
So that's what makes up the heart of everyone's FICO score, so that they know exactly how the score is weighted.
Understood. Now, if all these boxes are checked off, what's the highest FICO score you've seen somebody have?
Well, when people are recovering from, I mean, we've seen people jump up into the high 700s. It totally depends on every client. You know, if they've really checked all these boxes, there's no reason they can't be in the high 700s. It just takes work and takes a little patience for people to get there with their payment history and getting items removed. But you know, with work we've done, we've taken people in the 600s and into the 700s in 3 to 6 months. But people need to understand that every file is different. So when we challenge the credit bureaus to challenge the creditors, there may be newer items on somebody's report, and those are harder for us to get off because those creditors want their money and they're being very diligent about getting paid. Now there's clients that have older paid collections that are on their account and older derogatory remarks. Those companies tend to look away much more often because it's not in their economic interest. They don't have time to respond, or maybe they're out of business. And so that's how we get a lot of those remarks removed.
Okay.
Hi,
Cool.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
It goes back a little bit to where you were talking about the account balances and paying off. Sorry, I was driving and I wanted to ask, but I couldn't. So I've heard that if you pay off, like let's say I have a high balance on a credit card, if I pay it off, like if I pay off most of it, it wouldn't help your account as if you were paying it off monthly. Is that true?
So if I understand your question correctly, you're asking, should you pay off it in full or pay it off down to a balance?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, what you want to do, the optimal strategy is to pay down that balance 10 to 30% of the credit limit. And that shows the creditors good revolving credit and good payment history. And that's how you get to 30 to 40 points. You don't need to pay it off 100%.
Yeah. And
Okay.
if I could add to that, so I think I understand your question. I mean, the way I see it personally is I don't like to have any, I like to pay off my entire balance every month because I don't want to pay any interest on money I already have. So instead of paying interest to credit card companies, because let's say I owe them money, but I have that money in my bank account, I'd rather just pay it off so I don't pay any interest on it. With that being said, I carry at the end of the month a zero balance on my credit card, but I do use my credit card in order to build to build my credit and just continue my credit. So Adam, just to be clear, that way, we don't have anybody spending, money on fees or interest that they shouldn't be. Is it okay if she pays it off every month?
Oh, absolutely. It shows great payment history if you pay it down every month. I'm not suggesting that, but what they want to see is just it's really the 10 to 30% shows responsible borrowing to the creditors, and so that's where you get the 30 to 40 points. But you can certainly pay it off 100% every month, and you'll still get positive points.
Cool. All right. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
I have
Thanks.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So going back to that example of the credit card, say for example, I have a balance of $7,000 on one credit card, and I happen to receive a check, a gift of $7,000. How do you recommend I do the payment? Eventually I want to pay it out. Do I do it in increments? Do I make a one-time payment to go down to 30% of the balance? Or how do you recommend I do it? Is there a strategy to it?
Yeah, what you want to do, the goal is to get them to see the activity. So what you want to do is you want to, if you can, pay down that in a one-time installment down to 30%. And that immediately will show them great payment history when they when they issue statements. So if that's the best way to do it. Did I answer your question correctly? I'm not sure if I.
Yeah, I think so. So if I do have the 7,000, for example, then I do make a payment of, say, I don't know what the correct percentage, but say I pay $5,000, right? That'll leave me around between the 10 and the 30% down balance. So it's not. So yeah. So I was thinking, do I make a monthly payment of 1,000 until I get there, or can I do that without affecting it? Or so I guess the end goal is to get more points as much as points I can.
So your end goal, Edie, is to get as many points as you can. So Adam, does it make a difference if she just pays the 7,000, pays it off, that way she doesn't have to, again, pay money? Pay interest on money that she already has. To me, it doesn't make sense. If it was me, I would just pay $7,000 off. That way I would save my, 15, 20%, whatever the bank's charging me or the credit card company's charging me for that balance. So
Right.
Adam, does it make sense for if her goal is just to increase her FICO, does she just pay it off 7,000 completely, or does she pay off in increments?
If she was to be buying the home like next month, what you want to do is pay down to a 30% balance. She'll get 30 to 40 points to get when they go to post the account, and that when she pays that off on that credit card, it will be reported to all three bureaus that she paid down to 30%. That in turn triggers the 30 to 40 points. If she wants to do the full amount, basically. There's no problem there, but again, it's just to show that you're doing good credit borrowing. So it's really up to the borrower.
So Adam, I guess I'm just to be 100% clear, does she still get the 30 or 40 points if she pays the $7,000 off completely?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have the money, pay it off.
Got
Right.
it.
Yeah. Don't pay interest on money you already have in the bank.
And Vulture, just to follow up on that payment, can we pay those $7,000 in 3 weeks? That way you show 3 big payments in a month, or it doesn't matter? It's just one sum payment, or 3 big payments in that month will sort of get more of an attention to the credit report in any way.
No, the three payments in a month won't make a difference. They just want to see when they post the account every 30 days. They just want to see the final figure.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, these are all great questions because I think, and especially when the credit world, there's a lot of uncertainties as far as how it works and what's best for your credit score and your FICO. And unfortunately, in my line of business, I run across a lot of people who carry balances on their credit card, and most of the time it has to do with, most of the time they just can't pay it off. But secondly, close second is because they don't want it to affect their credit, because they feel that if they carry zero balance, their credit is going to be impacted. But I think they're getting it confused with if they have no credit, meaning if they cancel accounts or if they have no accounts whatsoever, that impacts your actual FICO score according to this chart here. But carrying a zero balance at the end of the month, not throughout the month, but at the end of the month, is not going to impact you. So if you have the money, pay it off, because you don't want to pay interest on that, on money that they're letting you borrow when you really have that money.
Right.
Yeah, and that's more of a money class, money class that we've had before, where we talk about, hey, what's the smart thing to do with money? But as far as credit, that's a good thing that we just found out. Okay, go ahead, Adam.
All right. Just to talk a little bit about the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA. So basically, what we do is we go after 100% of everything that's in the file. The 35% of that payment history, we're going to audit that and to make sure that everything in that file is 100% accurate. The bureaus have 30 to 45 days to get back to us. And what we call it is a prove it or remove it strategy. So if the creditors don't verify the account to the credit bureaus, it has to come off the report in 30 to 45 days. And so what are we removing? We're removing the following we're removing the errors. So that can be, and there's a big list here, but collections, bankruptcies, medical is very common, identity fraud, we've seen repossessions and late payments. So at one point or another, we've deleted these items off of people's credit reports. Sometimes, again, it can take longer distant time frames. In 1 month, I've seen somebody delete 100% of their items, and then some people it takes 3 to 6 months. But like I said, it depends on what's on the report. If they're older, late payments and collections, those come off a little bit more easily than newer items off the report.
Okay, cool.
Again, a little bit about us. We do a full-scale audit on 100% of all the items that are in the credit report. We do monthly email alerts and text messages. We have bilingual support. We have a secure portal where the affiliate, client, and credit analysts are all linked together so that we're all on the same page. And that helps us close more transactions. A little bit about the setup fees. It's $199 to set up, and that gets the credit coaching, and somebody signed up with the portal. It's $99 to add on to any family member, and it's $97 month to month. No contracts, and you can start or stop at any point in time. If anybody on the call today wants to get it set up today, I'll knock off another $99 on the setup. If they have a situation where they'd like to get started right away.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it. So there's Adam's information. What questions do we have? You guys could just unmute yourselves and ask the question or raise your hand.
Yeah, and what I'd like to do is there's a couple of things that I didn't cover in the presentation that I'd like to talk about with COVID-19, which is, one is pay your bills on time and make sure that maybe everything's on auto debit because the creditors are not changing their strategies. Two, keep inquiries low. Don't open any new accounts if possible. Three, maybe this is a good time to reach out to people that you owe money to, maybe creditors, and see if you can negotiate lower balances. The credit cards, make sure that you use 10 to 30% of your credit card balance. If you need to get a secure credit card to build history, we have those online. And check your credit report regularly.
I got a question.
Cool.
Does your debit card help your credit score?
No, it does not.
Hey, Voltaire, I just sent you a email. I was watching this YouTube video about the guy who was the character in Catch Me If You Can. And he was talking to the FBI. He works for the FBI. He was talking to a bunch of people about how hackers get your information and all that stuff. And I found it very instructive, especially the last part of it, where he never uses his debit card. He always uses nothing but his credit cards, because his credit card, if somebody gets a hold of your debit card, they can take all your money out of your account and you really have no recourse. But if you use your credit card and you pay off most of the balance every month, if something happens, you're insured up to $1 million. So I just sent you the email. I found it kind of fascinating, the psychology of all that kind of stuff. And here's a guy who made a living off of this, and now he works for the FBI. So
I think that sounds like a I'll forward it to everybody. It sounds like a great article. And that's one of the big reasons why I use my credit card. I don't even really carry my debit card, just because you're right. If they get your debit card information, they can swipe your account. But with credit card, there's a lot of advantages. You get obviously you get either discounts or points or money back. But at the same time, if there's fraud involved, you're covered. And then also with rental cars. So there's a lot of you just have to. For most people, we have to just use it wisely, and not pay those extra fees. So yeah, I'll forward that to everybody. Raul, if you could do that, that'd be cool. So Edie's asked, there are many perks with credit card usage. Yeah, correct. Yeah, there's many perks of having a credit card. So Adam, so some people that I know a couple people that are in the 800s, and I'm trying to get to the 800s. So what's the major determining factor? I mean, that's pretty wild when I meet people with 800 FICOs.
Yeah, that's when they've really maxed out on the mortgage score. Some of those, if you get from a 700 to 800 is probably, they're using the types of credit to get that 3-to-1, 1-to-1 ratio perfect. It can just take time to get to that perfect score. I've never seen a perfect score myself.
What is a perfect score?
I believe it's 810. I'm sorry.
Okay.
820? I'm sorry.
Or is it 1,000?
No, it's not 1,000.
All right.
With Credit Karma, they have their upper limits are like 1,000. So that's why we don't use those in real estate.
Got it. One thing you touched on that was important, I think, is the COVID. So with your mortgage and different creditors out there, they're saying, hey, like, you don't have to pay. Right now you're still gonna owe the money, but you can pay us down the road. And supposedly it's not supposed to affect your credit, but I've talked to a couple of lenders who have seen their, either I talked to a couple lenders who have clients who didn't make the payment, believe that they're covered, and then their servicer, their loan servicer or their lender, you know, dinged them on their credit. So I think the lesson from that, and you just touched on it, is, you know, still make your pay your bills. If you have the money, pay your bills, because, you know, there's not everyone's on the same page. They, you know, other systems might not be working together to or in sync so you won't get dinged. So make sure if you have the money, just pay it, and that way. And if you don't pay it, make sure you talk to your creditor and just, you know, tell them how important it is for it not to hit your credit score.
Yeah, I have a friend who's got like an 850 FICO score. So he's got a lot of money in the bank. He always pays his credit cards off at the end of the month. He's got low debt. And the highest FICO score you can get is an 850. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard those 800s.
Yeah, and
Cool.
what you just touched on is, you know, if you're having difficulty paying your mortgage, you can always reach out to your lender and talk about forbearance and deferment options. But you have to make sure that those are in place before you skip payments.
Correct. Yeah. Edie, do you have a question?
I do. Adam, I was wondering, you said check your credit all the time. So in the beginning of the year, I was doing I run my credit one time, maybe 2 times, to get a feel of a type of a loan on a mortgage that I wanted to get. And I use, I have Chase. And so Chase gives us, you know, this dashboard with our credit score on a monthly. Is that 100% true? Is that reliable? Just because I had a score, you know, my credit score was a number, and then a month ago when I checked in April, it said because I had 2 hard inquiries, my score went down 39 points.
Wow.
So I still have to check the month. I think today or maybe tomorrow is the date that they reported again. I just don't know how reliable it is, but before that happened, the number that showed on there on Chase website was very close to the credit score that, you know, when the lender ran my credit.
Right.
So why would it be so much, and what can I do? And if I can rely on that, or I just need to, you know, request a full free, you know, credit score just to see what's going on.
Yeah, so that's tricky because, you know, I don't know what Chase is using to report the 3 bureaus. To get an accurate FICO score, they have to be pulled in a tri-merge report from all 3 bureaus. And so I'm not sure if Chase is doing that for you. I would imagine that Chase is kind of providing you with what we call FICO scores, which are like advantage scores, but they're not true FICO scores. That's just in my experience.
Okay, thank you. I will check.
Yeah.
We'll try to get the monthly or monthly free so I can see exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and I would just ask Chase if these are real FICO scores.
Okay, and then I have one more question. Going back to, you said talking to the credit card companies to negotiate. So going back to that example of the 7,000, what type of strategy or what would you say to, you know, negotiate that and reduce that, and how much would you normally, you know, go down on that amount, for example?
Yeah, so what we've seen is that, you know, a lot of companies, if you call them and you have an outstanding balance with them and they're hounding you, they'll take 10 to 30% on the dollar. So, you know, right now is a great time to negotiate with creditors if you have outstanding balances with them, because they're, you know, and during these COVID times, they've reduced their amount that they just want to get paid. So if they if they're willing to negotiate, it's a great time to do so.
So if they're willing to negotiate and discount whatever you owe them, if you owe them 10,000 and then they'll take 4,000 right now if you pay them off, that's going to negatively impact your credit score, correct?
No, what needs to happen is that collection the collection will still stay on the account, and that's where we come in to fight to get the collection removed. So they'll settle, and then you hopefully will get a letter of deletion, but the collection will still stay on the report until it gets removed.
Oh, okay. So sorry.
Go ahead.
This is not, so my question is not on a $7,000, say, for, example, that is sitting on a collection status, but rather a current credit card, and it's still, say, in good standing, making payments every month. But then again, the interest on that credit card is super high. Can you negotiate when there is, it's a credit card and it's still in good standing, and you want to bring down the balance because you do want to pay it off?
Yeah, I think credit card companies are always open to negotiation. So it's always worth a phone call to see if they'll negotiate.
Okay.
Tell them that you have a better credit card you're thinking about switching to, and see if they'll lower the rate.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think on something like that, potentially you can negotiate the rate. From the years that I spent negotiating mortgage payoffs in short sales, and also dealing with creditors and the IRS, negotiating all that. They want to see that you're delinquent, you haven't been paying, and that's what gives you leverage. But if you do that, obviously that's going to affect your FICO score. So, but yeah, I think what Adam recommended, if you want a lower rate, or you can switch over to a zero interest, zero interest credit card that you just signed up for or something, then yeah, you could potentially negotiate something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I can jump in there, my experience has been like with medical bills too, they'll take 10, 20, sometimes 30 cents on the dollar just to get some money out of you. And then they write off the rest. And that's the same thing true with, credit card companies. Rather than have it go to collections, negotiate with the credit card company, because that's what the collection agency is going to do. And the more an item costs, the more there is a room to negotiate. You can't negotiate the cost of a Snickers bar, but you can negotiate the cost of a car.
True.
That's good advice.
Cool. Any other questions for Adam?
I just want to mention Voltaire and thank you guys, because thank you Brightside Credit. I actually had a consultation last month, and they helped me out because I actually brought this up when you were at the office, Adam, that I asked you that question. I had a debt that never came up after 11 years. And actually the debt was I never agreed to the debt. And actually I checked on my credit score and it appeared, and then you told me that they could not go after that, and that's statute of limitations in California. So it magically disappeared after I disputed that amount with them. But I just want to tell you guys, I was a victim of something like that, which you guys helped me out in that free consultation. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. We're happy to do free consultations anytime.
Cool. Yeah. And I think, Adam's here, he's here because his company does good work. They're very affordable. If you compare any other company, I mean, you could pay into the thousands of dollars to fix your credit. But this is more something like, hey, look at, he'll go in there, this company, and they'll just, fight all these things that you have on your credit, get your FICO score up, and then that way, you could pay less interest on everything in the future, whether it's car purchases or home loan purchases or refinances. So thanks a lot, Adam. You guys, if you could just show your screen again with your information, that way people, if they want to take a photo, they can take a photo. There you go. That's where to reach him. And we're going to go now and just give a little update on the market. Thanks a lot, Adam. Let me share.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Let me go ahead and share my my screen. And again, if you guys want a free consultation, just reach out to Adam. He'll take care of you. And all right, here we go. Okay, so can you guys see this? It's my email.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So just a quick update as to what's going on in the real estate world, real estate market. Looking at this housing report right here. Let me change my screen so we can read the whole thing. So in San Diego, demand, right? So demand, one thing that we noticed when this COVID thing started is that demand went down. So here we are in March, you know, we're here in the blue to 2020. Demand was on its way up, you know, going through the normal winter to spring to summer. And all of a sudden it just dropped. This is the number of buyers, like foot traffic, that wanted to buy a home, and just dropped, right? And it dropped by, looks like here we're like 3,200, and it dropped to about, 1,700. So by right around 50%. So what we started seeing here, you know, in April going into May, there's a little uptick, if you notice that. So that's good news for realtors and for the real estate market alike. Now, one thing that did help, and that's really helping out the real estate industry right now, saving the real estate industry, is interest rates. So the current interest rate is all time, I guess, and in the last few weeks, it was at an all-time low over the course of the U.S. interest rates. So if we compare it to a year and a half ago, 2018, November, I remember this time just because I had inventory that wasn't selling, and a big part of it was because interest rates were high. So they were 5%. So if you just do the math on a $500,000 mortgage, 2,600 a year and a half ago compared to 2,100 this month, the monthly savings was $500. So that's how much more affordable it would be to buy right now than a year and a half ago. And then over a year, it turns out to $6,000. And then over 5 years, you're saving $30,000 as a homeowner. So interest rates, they're very low, and that's why, you know, there's a little uptick in demand. Market time. So the other thing with market time is, you know, we're under 80 days starting at the beginning of the year, and then it was hot. I don't know if you guys remember, but February was hot. Going into market was hot. You know, we're right around 40 days on the market, which is extremely low to sell a home. And then COVID happened, and then market time just, you know, sprang up close to 90 days. And what we saw here over the last couple of weeks is we saw a little downtick in market time. So out of all the areas in Southern California, Los Angeles, Orange County, Riverside, San Diego is the hottest as far as just, you know, supply and demand. There's more demand than there is supply still. And if you notice over here on the right side, it shows us exactly what type of market we're in. So we're almost heading into a balanced market. And then above a balanced market is a buyer's market, which, you know, we were slightly in 2019, it was a buyer's market for a brief, you know, couple of weeks. But now we're still in a slight seller's market. Okay. Hot seller's market was 2017, where it was just, you know, hovering around 40 days on the market the entire year. But right now we're still, sellers have a slight edge, okay, but it's right at the mark where it could potentially be a balanced market in some communities. And then inventory. So inventory has been super slow, but over the last 2 weeks it increased by 3%. So here goes inventory under 5,000 homes for sale. And it just crossed the 5,000 home mark in April, and it's a little bit above 5,000 homes now. So as you can see over the last several years, 2017, 18, 19, it's always been above where we're at right now as far as inventory levels. 2018, there's a lot of homes for sale, and that's why it was a little bit slower that year. But with that being said, there's very few homes, very few supply on the market of homes, and compared to, you know, the bust in 2008 and 2007, there was 3 times the amount of homes back then, 16,000 homes for sale. Right now, there's right around 5,000 homes for sale. See what else I wanted to share with you guys about this. I think that's about it. So that's kind of a quick little update on the market. That way everyone's kind of in the know and you know what to expect. I think that what I'm starting to see now is I'm starting to see more buyers just, start to come out of the woodworks. We had a couple buyers that had cold feet not too long ago. And all of a sudden, when I say not too long ago was, they got cold feet when this whole COVID thing started. And now they're like, okay, let's start looking at homes. So they're back on track. So I think we're going to see more of that as far as, buyers ready to make a move. We just got to find the sellers that are ready to make a move. Obviously, there's still a lot of things that the governor and the California Association of Realtors asking us to do as far as just to make sure that everyone's safe when we're looking at homes and showing homes. So we still have to follow those. So that's going to impede, the number of deals that we could actually transact this year. But I like what I'm seeing right now compared to what we saw a month ago. Any questions there from anyone? All right, cool. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to have our first-time home buyer workshop tomorrow night. It's going to be in Spanish. So if you guys have any Spanish-speaking family, friends, clients, leads, you should invite them. That way they could get educated, know the process of buying overall, and also what's going on with the market during COVID. And that way you could bring, value to them in this market and continue to be their realtor of choice. And next week, on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to have Derek Evans come in and talk about social media marketing, online marketing right now during COVID. So see you guys next week as well. Thanks for coming. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Walter.
See ya.
Have a nice
All right,
day.
you're welcome.
Later, Vic.
All right, later. Peace. Blue love. I see you.
All right.